Hey guys, welcome back to Seller Sessions, 4 p.m. UK on a Wednesday afternoon. Back to the show is Casey Gauss. We're completing on our series on and off Amazon. Casey's here today to chat SEO, some stuff in and around Google, and some of the work that he's been doing and the testing he's been doing over at Thrasio. Hey Casey, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm very, very good. While I share to the groups, do you want to give people a little bit of background on yourself?
Yeah, for sure. Cool. So at the end of 2014, a little over 6 years ago, 6.5 years, I started a company called Viral Launch, a software company in the space. Started helping sellers drive keyword ranking, built that up. Ended up, helping tens of thousands of brands drive over $10 billion in sales on Amazon, helping brands from major brands such as Sony to large 9-figure sellers, as well as, people just getting started, helping in everywhere from keyword research, product research, Amazon advertising, ranking, creatives, you name it. And in almost a year ago now, in 2020, I joined this company, Thrasio. Largest aggregator
which happens to be this little aggregator that's been the fastest growing profitable startup in history or something, I think they call it.
Yeah. So, and we may have been the fastest company to our revenue numbers as well. So
wow. So not a bad little resume there. So what have you got for us today? What are we looking at under the hood?
Yeah, just wanted to talk a little bit about, Amazon SEO. I think there's still a handful of things that people aren't talking about that they should be talking about. And, just as like, sorry, my dog is barking, but just as like a general theme, I think as we're seeing all this money coming into the space, all these aggregators, we're going to see a lot of growth in the kind of sophistication of the players. And it's gonna, it's getting harder. Amazon's much more difficult now than it was, a year ago, 2 years, 5 years ago. I think that's gonna like ramp up quite a bit as you see more companies like Thrasio that are able to hire teams of hundreds of people that are able to like be experts in all these areas. And so I think that it's gonna push sellers to focus on just more. We used to just be able to focus on keyword ranking. That was enough. And then it was, keyword ranking and PPC, and that's still where a lot of people are at. And now you need to like be branching out essentially. But cool. Yeah, let's get going on SEO. So one thing that is, very basic, but a lot of people are not aware of this. I wasn't until just recently, is optimizing the title. So right, like old strategy was you place your title once and you make no updates, because making an update will drop keyword ranking, hurt indexation, all of that. But now we actually see it as like a pretty big lever for us to drive ranking. So we actually see quite a big jump in ranking, like improvement in ranking when we go and update a title. So we have had a handful of case studies recently where we do nothing and we just go update a title, and for our main keywords we're going from nowhere or page 3 or whatever to like mid page 1. So for those that are listening, like don't be afraid of updating your title. It's probably actually going to be something that's pretty helpful. Another thing we're seeing,
but there is the frequency of updating. If you keep playing around with your title, that you were seeing cases where it gets locked down and then you have to go and raise a ticket to seller support. But like, just don't be doing it every other day. But like you said, if you're seeing these new signals coming in now.
Yeah. So we have a planned test to see, like, because we do see a lift when we're updating our title. Right now, we're only updating it once. I want to see, if we do periodic updates, maybe every 30 days, does Amazon like this refresh? Is that what's giving us a bump, or is it just because we're better optimized?
Yeah. And are you doing it just on the back end interface, or are you doing it by flat file?
I think the majority of it is done via Seller Central.
Yeah,
in the back end.
Cool. Yeah,
good question. Another thing that we're seeing is, and maybe everybody knows this, but in the back end search terms, we're only doing 249 characters, including spaces. So we've been seeing when we have 250 characters exactly, the back end search terms aren't indexed at all.
Wow,
so I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Cool. So that's that. So some other things that I wanted to talk about in terms of like on-page optimizations that people aren't talking about. So we're spending a a lot more time thinking about Google SEO as well. We've had some crazy results where, right before Black Friday, we got a product ranking number one for this keyword, like 250,000 searches a month in Google. And high price product, and that product just took off over the holidays. And so we're, as one example, but we're spending a lot more time thinking about Google. Something that we're starting to do is write our bullet points. We're trying to balance writing our bullet points so they sound good so that we can sell to customers, but also sell to the Amazon algorithm. So, include keywords that weren't in our title, but also make sure that our content is unique for Google and is incorporating Google terms that we didn't otherwise find in Amazon. So, again, something to put on people's radar, but I think Google is becoming increasingly important. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. And then just some other things that we do, like, this was big back in the old days, and then kind of died out. And in every market, it doesn't work necessarily, but we still do bestseller badge hunting. So we still go and look for subcategories that are, tangential or loosely related to our product. Obviously, we don't want to get in trouble, but we still see like significant increases in sales when we have a bestseller badge, especially in some categories. Like you cannot be the bestseller, like you cannot win in the category unless you have the bestseller badge. When you see bestseller badge trade between, our product and the competitors, you'll see their BSR drop and sales significantly increase. So it's easy to kind of forget. And I would encourage sellers to, I call it a traffic map, but basically like I just have documented, okay, everything on page, here's every single lever. So like there's the compare with similar items section at like the bottom. Like there's ways to influence that, especially on a new product launch. You can run giveaways, have those customers, look at the competitor's product and then buy your product, right? It's pretty simple, but that's going to give you a nice little lift in sales. Frequently bought together. We're spending a lot more time focused on frequently bought together. I'll talk about that here in a moment. You can do that directly with giveaways, but there's also ways to help that. Frequently bought together can also drive some nice sales lift. And, none of these are silver bullets, but I think more and more, every little optimization is going to count as competition continues to increase, and it's just a flywheel. The more you're selling, the more reviews you're going to be driving, the better your keyword ranking, which drives more sales. I don't think enough people are paying attention to review velocity. Because my personal belief, the data that I've seen both at Viral Launch and Thrasio is like review quantity, not in absolute terms, but in relative terms is so important. So, if you have 5,000 reviews on your widget, that in absolute terms is a lot. But if your competitors have 100,000 and then 30,000, it's not that many, and you will be missing out on sales because customers say, oh, this looked like the more popular one, so I'm going to go with it, kind of all else being equal. And so just having that flywheel running is so important in my opinion. And then, I like, some of the larger sellers that I talked to that really got started back in the day still aren't paying enough attention to lightning deals, 7-day deals, and so forth. Again, and just another great sales driver. Another thing that people don't pay attention to, it's small, but again, the incremental helps. Amazon posts should be pushing out Amazon posts. I still don't know what the regularity is. There's no good attribution to know exactly what it's doing. But this is like part of our kind of like, launch strategy and part of our recommendations as we're trying to lift a product up. Amazon post, if you're not familiar, shows up on a competitor's page. Like ideally the aesthetic is really good to catch the customer's eye as they're scrolling. It only shows up on mobile, towards the bottom, like right above the review section, essentially. And then another area that we are focused on, sorry if I'm, just quick.
No, keep going.
Okay, cool. Another area that we are increasing our focus on is Amazon promotions. So, I guess promotions, if you will. So there's 3 types. One that I didn't know about until just recently, it's this section right underneath the buy box called Add Other Items. You need to have a strategic account manager in order to get products basically listed there. You can only list products in your account, and there's some other criteria in terms of like price point and stuff like that. Buy one get one promotions. This has been around for a while, but like you can edit your image set to drive attention to that promotions, those promotions, and then virtual bundles. I think like, in general, you have to be looking at every single component of what's on the listing and say, can I influence this? And experiment around that and see, does this have an impact on sales? What's the cost for me to get my placement here or on competitors' pages? And at Thrasio, we have the luxury of hiring people that can like just focus on promotions or just focus on this or that. Not all sellers have that capability, but if you just have a couple of hero products that are really killing it for you, you have to be making these optimizations.
And so at Thrasio, how much is under your jurisdiction in terms of the SEO work or on-page work that you're doing? Because it's working at scale, isn't it? When we talk to Amazon sellers and are listening back on the show, most of them haven't got like 100 brands under their management, if you like. So when you're working at scale, it takes a different process. So when you're rolling out these kind of changes, how are you planning your test, if you like? What's the foundation of setting your test before you roll it out from brand to brand?
Yeah, it's a good question. Well, one, there's, I guess bureaucracy or, layers that you have to go through at this point, because we don't have direct access to everything. But I mean, basically the process, like you nailed it. Everything is about scale. And even if we do something 80% well, but you roll it out to 100 brand, whatever, like there's good impact. But basically our approach is, okay, we have this thesis on like, okay, here's how we can get into frequently bought together. We were wondering if we could do it with just add to cart traffic. And so we, put together, here's the things that may influence it. The amount of days that the traffic is run, how similar the customers are, and how much traffic, is it like 100 add to carts or 1,000 add to carts a day? Let's just say. So we put together a couple like, hypotheses, if you will, or theories. And then we run these very small tests. Like typically I like to run the test very small. So like if you're testing out a new key URL, then I would go find a product that, or a keyword that has like, 200 searches a month and it hasn't been on page 1 in the last 90 days. So that, it's very easy to influence, but I just want to see if it influences at all. And, if it ends up on page 1 or high up on page 1, then I know that URL works. Now I'm going to like go to the next level and try on a higher volume keyword. But anyways, so we run these, series of tests on a handful of products, answer our questions, and then we build a SOP around it. We use this service called Guru. It's, like these cards that basically anybody in the company can reference to understand, here's the SOP and, here's why this is important. And we build some case studies so that the brand managers, the people that, kind of own the brands, we can get buy-in from them. Basically, the SEO team, we come up with recommendations. We identify opportunities for sales improvements. And then we go to the brand owners and we say, hey, here's what I've identified. You know this brand better than we do, but here's why we think doing these 7 things can help to improve sales.
Yeah. And so in terms of the off Amazon stuff, you're talking about Google SEO. What kind of things have you been working on there? I mean, do you build backlinks to your Amazon listings as well and stuff like that?
We do. Yes. That's like, the main thing that we see some lift when we go in and update our bullets and our A+ content. So A+ content, while it's helpful for conversion rate, isn't that helpful for SEO on Amazon, is very helpful for Google SEO. And part of what we see, at least on our like hero products that are selling well, is that, affiliates or other people have gone in and kind of copied that content verbatim, copied, pasted on their blog or whatever. And so that it's showing up in Google quite a bit. So we refresh that. And sometimes just from these refreshes, we will go, we'll see an improvement in ranking, like, we'll start ranking for some low volume keywords. But after that, it's pure link building. And, sometimes things pop like very quickly, in a week or two, which is rather rare. Things are, typically take like 5 to, 8 weeks or so, but not 4 to 6 months. I've been sold in the past. And I think it's important to note like, if you just have one listing, there's a good probability that it doesn't work on that one listing, or you're not able to get that main keyword. I haven't run exact numbers, but just, intuitively, like off the top of my head, it's like, it's Google SEO when we try is like 70% successful at ranking some keywords. So you'll get like, some low volume keywords, and we're doing these on like higher volume products, and not always the winners in the space, but higher volume products in their category. And then we're about like 40% successful at getting our main keyword ranking in Google, or getting ranking for our main keyword in Google. So like, if you're a seller and you're betting big on getting that main keyword on your one product, probability is that you're not going to get there. But if you do, it'll be well worth it, because the cost is not, very high.
So it's like a measured spray and pray, if you like, because you've got so many products that you can work across. You're able to gather data, because obviously each of these products are going to react differently in terms of the algorithm on Google. The other thing I was going to say as well, like you said, you got like uplifts pretty quick. Sometimes it's a week, sometimes it's 4 to 6 weeks. But then maybe as well is the authority of Amazon's site will make a difference from when you're building against an authoritative site like Amazon, which, nearly every search time you search especially in the UK, and you're looking up for products, Amazon's pretty much at the top nearly all the time when you're searching for a product. Whereas if you've got your own Shopify site, that might take 6 to 9 months if you're going to get there. So it's a very long bet to put behind a weighty keyword, with a site with zero or next to zero authority.
Yeah. I mean, for sellers that are kind of that have maybe just, 1 or 2 products that are doing the majority of their volume, you should definitely do the research. So like, there's ways to see with like similar web. You can go and search a keyword. Let's just use the keyword like spatulas, for example. You can see what percentage of spatula traffic is already going to like a place like Walmart or Amazon. This is kind of what we do. We see, there's actually good volume, or not for the keyword pillows, but pillows for sleeping. There's 100,000 searches a month. 40% of the traffic is split between Amazon and Walmart. So like, people are looking to buy when they're searching this keyword. And, my pillow set is $35. So if I get decent amount of traffic, and you can see what percentage of traffic clicks into the Amazon listing, or, Amazon domain. And then you can run some rough numbers, like, okay, it's going to cost me $3,000 to try to get this product ranking, or something like that in Google. Well, based on the traffic and my price point, I could be making $5,000 to $20,000 a month or something off of this. So it's well worth it.
Yeah. And what about the third-party sites, like Shopify sites under Thrasio's jurisdiction? What kind of stuff that you do in there off of Amazon?
Yeah, I just hired a director of Google SEO. He started yesterday, actually. So I'm going to be focused on building up, organic search traffic essentially to these sites. Yeah.
And what do you think is coming up this year? What kind of stuff are you looking, tests you kind of run? What's interesting you at the moment? Obviously, there's only so much we can do on Amazon with title, bullets, back end, etc., etc. What other stuff is really interesting you to run, like video ads and stuff like that? Are you starting to get really into the weeds with those?
Yeah. Peeling back the layers of the onion. Yeah. To your point, like, things can only get so optimized on Amazon, and there's a limit there. And so I think one area that people are really going to be kind of innovating, if you will, one axis of competition is going to be in the offers. So kind of looking at an Amazon listing, and I know a lot of people, and it's fine, but like a lot of people like to focus on the customer, and not that I'm not, but like selling a product and a brand and speaking to the customer and those things. And I think those things are important, but also like you got to get eyeballs on a customer, and there are like very kind of quantitative things that help to drive a sale, like review quantity. So I think that aside, I think people are going to spend a lot more time looking at their listings as these pieces of real estate and building upon that real estate. So an example would be a spatula. I have a spatula set that's selling has 5,000 reviews. What I'm going to do is I'm going to like start adding additional spatulas to appeal to a wider variety of people, but still build on that review quantity while trying to stay within Amazon's guidelines around listing variations. And so like I still think there's a decent amount of opportunity to basically take that spatula. I don't have a great example off the spatula, but basically take that spatula and start appealing to other sets of keywords, finding some niche keywords in the spatula market that have good volume. So stainless steel, now you add a stainless steel variation onto your silicone spatula so that you can appeal to those keywords, but keep that review quantity and keep that velocity. Because velocity on any variation is helping the velocity of the listing overall. So that makes it more difficult for a pure stainless steel listing to compete with mine, because I have really good velocity and I have really good review quantity. And, I can add additional price points or whatever to appeal to the expensive spatula shopper as well as the cheaper spatula shopper, assuming that there's those price points. So I think there's going to be a decent amount more of that, and I think that's like an area where the optimization it can expand beyond optimization.
Yeah.
Second,
cool. Sorry, no, go on.
Yeah. So then I think a lot off of Amazon. So I've always said, day one of viral launch, the person with the most external traffic, basically the cheapest external traffic at scale wins. Because if I can, everyone's doing giveaways and stuff like that, but giveaways are very expensive. And so if you're competing against somebody else for the top position, you guys could do giveaways into infinity, but no one makes any money, and you got to stop at some point. So the person with the cheapest source of external traffic. So one area that we've tapped into at Thrasio, we're spending millions of dollars in Google PPC, and it's driving millions of dollars in GMV for us every month. And we're also able to use this for ranking. And, I don't know too many people that are able to do this with Google PPC. And this, gives us a significant advantage when it comes to ranking on Amazon. And so that, that's one area. And I think a lot of people should be at least focus on finding these external traffic sources, Facebook groups, affiliates, you name it, tapping into these external traffic sources and being able to send them both to your D2C site. You need to be able to make that decision, but also to your Amazon listing, because if maximum sales potential for a product, Amazon's only sending so many customers to buy a spatula every month. But if you can add on to that, well, now people can't compete, because instead of the maximum of 10,000 customers a month buying an individual spatula on Amazon, now you're selling 11,000. And, that also means more reviews, more ranking, and your review velocity is faster, and it's just going to, really keep the flywheel going for you.
Yeah. Are you guys doing much in the way using brand analytics?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We use brand analytics quite a bit.
Is there anything in there that really stands out for you that you do on a regular basis?
Yeah, good question. The main thing that we're my team specifically is using brand analytics for is frequently bought together targets. Mm-hmm. So, we're we'll go and find some competitor that is number one in the category that we have a closely related product, and we'll maybe do some giveaways between our product and theirs to help earn that frequently bought together section and help to drive additional sales. Our product launch team that's identifying what to sell, they use it a lot.
Sounds good. Cool. I mean, is there anything else you want to cover? Because the thing is with you, your hyper speed, it all comes out really fast. Whereas, people speak at a slower pace. So although we're 25 minutes in, you packed so much in. So is there anything else you want to cover at all?
No, just in general, feel free to reach out to anybody listening that has any questions. Again, I think about this stuff a lot. I also get to participate in a lot of things outside of just the SEO world at Thrasio, and obviously talk to a lot of sellers. And external traffic is the name of the game.
Excellent. Well, Casey, thank you for coming in today. We'll get you back on in a few weeks' time. I'll be back here next week. Tomorrow, Sharon Evan will be in the chair. Then on Monday will be Bella. Next week, I'm going to do a sellers roundtable where they've sold to aggregators in the space to go off the back of yesterday's roundtables with key aggregators. And we're going to carry on our series of off Amazon with a series of special guests like Casey. So take care of yourself, take care of your family. I'll see you next week, but don't forget to tune in tomorrow. Take care.